What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Diablo Immortal Podcast. Actually, it's called the Immortal Podcast, Episode 4, where today I'm here with my good friend Scrappy Academy, aka Nemo, and SVR, who is our veteran Diablo 3 player. What we're going to be doing today is diving into our opinions of the alpha, because we have been playing the game every day, all day long, as well as getting a PC Diablo 3 gamer's perspective on what he feels about his really first ever true mobile gaming experience. I want to remind you guys that this show is driven by your comments, so make sure you comment in the chat if you're watching this live right now on Twitch, because remember, guys, we are live on Twitch every single day at 12 p.m. Eastern, but this Immortal Podcast is every single Sunday while we have the alpha at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Come watch it live, or you could watch it as a video on the YouTube channel ECHO Gaming Diablo later on. But we're gonna jump in and say what's up to my boy Nemo. How you doing, man?
Hey Echo, what's going on? What's up, SVR? Super pumped to be here. I'm ready to talk about Immortal. I've been playing it nonstop. I'm sure both of you have as well. I got so much to talk about. We got so many news. We got so many things. I've been playing with all my characters. This is my third one. We got to talk about that. SVR, how's it going, man? What's up?
It's going well. I was at my parents' place over the Christmas days. First time in 2020, I had a chance to see them. You know, it's like world in a pandemic state is a weird world. But overall, ate too much food and played too much Immortal. Like I did have my laptop with me, but it's the first time I actually didn't play on my laptop. I actually played on my phone, and that was Diablo Immortal. A lot of progression happened there for me. I had some early access to the alpha and was one of the few lucky ones to play it like very early. And as you pointed out, very, very, very first mobile game. And I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I expected to be a bit frustrated, especially by the controls. But if there's one thing that I need to point out that is absolutely astonishing is I don't feel like I can't execute the game. I don't feel like I'm being held back by the controls, which is something that I definitely expected. I expected to be like, oh my god, I know I can play this much better if only I had, correct peripherals. Turns out that's not the case. So it's kudos to the teams on this one. That I can execute Diablo Immortal like I want to, which is an amazing thing. And I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, we've spoken to a lot of people that are in your shoes, PC gamers that are trying their first mobile game, or the first one that they're really playing as like a primary game. And a lot of people are saying the same thing, really surprised that the controls are as intuitive and comfortable, I guess, as they are. But let's see, Nemo, where are you at right now in the game as I switch us over to see some gameplay in the background?
Sure. So I maxed out my Barb and I got a whole bunch of good legendaries. I've been playing around with that. Almost maxed out my Wizard. She's at 44, I think, right now. I got like one more level to go. And I just picked up a couple of legendaries and really starting to love my Wizard. And next will be Monk for me because I was watching you, and good lord, is the Monk awesome. What about you, Echo?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. I love the Monk. I've played all 4 classes. I have a max Demon Hunter, a max Monk. My Barb, I actually play on my phone, just casually. She's a level 35, and I have a Wizard only about 2 hours into my Wizard. So the Wizard is actually my least favorite class as of right now, and maybe that's because I haven't gotten her deep enough into the game. But man, that Monk, I just got him max last night. He's got 4 legendaries with legendary gems inside, and he is a beast. Really, he's so good that when I play the Barbarian, which is supposed to be your get in there and beat them up class, I feel just so isolated because it just doesn't move the same way that Monk does. And the Monk has the same tankiness as well. I don't know. People, yeah.
Is there a specific reason why why you have such a not strong feeling against the Wizard, but why is it your least favorite one? Is it just the amount of time played at this point? Or is there some other is it just spellcasters overall? Like, why is it that Echo you right now are like the least favorite? I mean, there has to be a least favorite one. We all have one. That's how it is. But why is it Wizard for you right now?
Look at SVR taking over the show already. We're 3 minutes and he's taking over the show.
But I'm a main Wizard, and you're pointing just out like Wizard.
True. He took offense to this. He started with the Wizard, right?
He did.
SVR first.
I only really grinded Wizard. I've only
okay. Well, okay. So let me put it to you this way: in 2019 at BlizzCon, the Wizard was probably my favorite class. I really enjoyed it. But now, and in my defense, if I'm actually ranking them, someone has to be in last place, right? Something has to be. So for me, I think all the classes are great. And I've said this in videos and stuff before. They're all good. It depends on how you like to play. For me, I personally don't enjoy as much sitting back and using ranged characters. I'd rather get in there. And the way that the monk does that with the spells as well, with the ability to like jump and teleport to different characters, it's just incredible. The wizard, and again, I've only gotten 2 hours into my wizard, so she doesn't have the gear that she probably needs to be as effective. I'm definitely not having the same experience that you are with a max level wizard, but I just like to get into the battle, and that's going to be either the barbarian or the monk for me right now. So they're clearly going to be one of the top 2 spots.
I do agree that like Barb and Monk have this like into the fray mentality. It's like you immediately jump in and you smack, right? Whereas Wizard is like very evasive, very ranged based, and you need to plan ahead kind of. It's like generic Wizard gameplay. I'll say though that so I leveled Wizard for the first time at the very beginning. Like I immediately like queued Wizard and went Wizard. I was like playing for like level 20, 30, 40. I'm like, man, this is actually hard. This is not easy. They are not cuddling with me here, right? This is like I need to fight against the bosses and fight to actually get them down. And I was like, wow, this is a hard mobile game to some extent. And I was talking with White at that point, and White literally told me that they don't want to cuddle us. They really want us give us a challenging time, right? I was like, all right, I guess that's like it is for every class. And then I leveled Monk and Barb. Turns out I had a much easier time, which is either because of the knowledge advantage. That's one way. I didn't know really what to do, and I was aware of where I need to go. So it could be one thing. Or the other one is just, it's actually not easy to level Wizard right now in Immortal. And that's like my main concern right now. That's a lot of people will start Wizard because they like the fantasy, but they will be like, man, this is actually hard. And they will look at the gameplay from a Barbarian. The Barbarian, he gets Life Leech on like level 1 with Lacerate. And it's like, you can just very often face tank bosses and just hit. And it's definitely something you can never do on Wizard. You will chain rip. So I feel like that's the main issue why newer players are like, Wizard, yeah. But sure, there's also the fantasy thing of Into the Fray is a true Barbarian and Monk thing. And if you like that one, then go for it.
Yeah, so you heard it from SVR. If you're brand new to Diablo, if you're a mobile gamer and never played a Diablo game before, the easier classes, the ones that you could go in and maybe have a little bit more leeway with, are going to be, well, probably the Barbarian, I would say, is the number 1. And then probably the Monk after that, which is why, Nemo, he's the biggest noob of us 3, so he went with the Barbarian class first. While I actually went with the Demon Hunter first, and I enjoyed her as well, though.
Listen, man, the Barb is the staple of Diablo. I don't want to hear it. The Barb is OP. Now, I do have to agree with everything SVR and you were saying about the Wizard. I think that the Wizard becomes super awesome once you actually like probably get past like 36 or 38, where you can unlock some skills and get like some real good damage. But you're right, SVR. You can't just sit there and face bosses. You got to keep running like a mouse. That's what I've noticed. I started with the Barb, and you just run in there, and I mean, spin to win, go nuts, and just wipe everybody out. And that was my first experience. Then I get in with the Wizard, and I insta die on some of the bosses. I mean, I was on stream one time. I was fighting the Blood Rose, I believe. 6 times into it, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Why am I dying? What? Because it's a completely different play, but it's really awesome. I feel like that, like such a different game when you're playing with the Wizard versus Barb and Monk. And that to me is a positive. It is a little bit harder to level, and you get more rewards once you do, but definitely want to stick with it. For anybody who hasn't played, stick with the Wizard. It becomes so awesome to play with. I love it.
Yeah. And because of
combo in the end.
Because of comments like that, that's why I know that I have to max out my Wizard before this alpha is over. I mean, that's going to be the next one that I'm streaming, I'm going to have to say goodbye to my Monk, and I love playing as the Monk. I just got him yesterday to the max level with the 4 legendary pieces, with the legendary gems, ranking, like really putting it together. And I will say, as I got the Monk to higher levels towards more of the end game of Diablo Immortal, he was way more OP to me than the Demon Hunter. But with that being said, the Demon Hunter was the first class I played when I got the alpha, and I did not do as much of the upgrading or the legendary gems or the gear because it was new to me, right? I didn't understand the game as much in the beginning. So now if I went and I upgraded all the gear from my Demon Hunter, and if I were to upgrade the legendary gems and place them a little bit smarter, I'd probably have a much better time, because there was a phase in the game with the Demon Hunter where I was taking on a boss and I could not win. Frustration just took me over. Then I played it as the monk and I crushed it in like 20 seconds. So it was I think a lot of it had to do with gearing up, plus my personal playstyle, what I'm more comfortable doing. But all right, so we have 2 Wizard fans in here, 1 Monk fan in here. I mean, what's it going to be for you, SVR, when the Necro and the Crusader join the party?
More Wizard. No, so I'm just joking here. I'll do Necro. So I'm for some reason, don't ask me why, I'm a sucker for like intelligence classes and like spellcaster classes. So I've always been a huge fan of Wizard, Witch Doctor, and Necromancer in D3. Those are the classes that I don't know. I just have something for them. I just enjoy them quite a lot. So I'll definitely give Necromancer a fair shot. I hope it will be. I hope there will be pets. I just hope. Like, we haven't seen any like real pets in Immortal yet, so I hope there will be some kind of a viable pet build. We'll see if we'll have curses. Like, Necromancer is usually a curse class, so we have that in D2, we have that in D3. It's ridiculously potent in D3. So I hope we'll see some of that stuff with the Necro being reintroduced. I'm not the largest Crusader fan. I know Leviathan, for instance, is a huge Crusader fan, so I know at least one person who will like deeply look into that one, and that will probably be enough for me, just seeing what the class has. Probably leveling it once, but deeply playing it, if at all, Necromancer, and we'll see when it happens.
All right, and Nemo, how about you, buddy?
Well, I mean, I'll definitely play Necro and Crusader. I love the combo classes, so to speak. If I had to wait for like the one, I would say Witch Doctor is probably my favorite. I don't know if it's because I've been playing it a lot in season 22 D3, right? Because of because I don't know, the Mundanugu is just like got me in love with the Witch Doctor. The spirit, I don't know what it is, but the spirit, bro, I just love it. So I'm kind of looking forward to the Witch Doctor. If I had to pick Wizard probably first because I fell in love with it, Monk second. That would be probably right now. That would be my stance so far.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. We're getting asked in the chat. And I want to remind everyone, this show is driven by your comments, your questions. So if you have any questions, you've been watching us all stream this game. The video's coming out. You saw probably the AMA where the Blizzard team answered all of our questions regarding what's coming or what's up with this with Diablo Immortal. If you have any questions, let us know and we'll tackle it in here as best as we can. But I do see Madness asking, do we find any glitches in the game? So obviously we're in alpha, and I want to say one thing first. Many people have said, and I happen to feel the same way, this alpha, this mobile gaming alpha, is better than most mobile games out there right now. Let's be honest. I mean, there are a few things that give me a problem once in a while inside of the game, but overall, this game is so much better than almost everything on the market, if not everything on the market. So have you guys been running into any issues in the alpha?
So I have not seen like any particular real glitch happening. The only one that I witnessed having one is, once again, Leviathan. He had this one glitch where he was like following a monster into like non-pathable area. So that's something you shouldn't be able to run over it. And then he could go through a wall, and then he was going out of bounds. So out of bounds is like the technical speedrun for leaving the map, leaving the area where players shouldn't really go. And then he was just falling into the abyss, and that's it. And his character like just kept falling because there was no ground below him. And that's it. So I've seen only one instance where there's technically a glitch. I had it once or twice that my game locked up when I was interacting with an NPC. Like I was talking to the blacksmith, and then my game was gone. So it was just froze up. But that's it. In terms of like actual bugs or actually something going horribly wrong, no. As you pointed out, like when I heard technical alpha, I was like, oh lordy, this will be a lot of writing down stuff of things, how to reproduce something, what is going wrong, how to do it again to make sure I can fix it. Turns out it's incredibly clean. This does not feel like an alpha right now. I expected to continuously crash, run into issues, and having to write like huge bug report lists. No, it's actually, from that point of view, it's actually less work than the work that I usually have with Diablo 3 patches, where there are plenty of things in D3 patches that need some further iterations, like mechanical issues, just straight up bugs, multipliers not working, items not working in conjunction. I mean, there's more legacy systems in D3, like, from older teams that the current developers need to take care of. So there are a lot of things that they sometimes forget. So I understand it's not easy, but it didn't feel like this in Immortal right now. So I was very impressed by the overall polished quality. It does not feel like an alpha whatsoever.
Yeah, so
that's amazing.
So 3 things I've gotten from your discussion right here. 1, Leviathan breaks games. 2, you are the guy, you are the tech guy that goes in and gives all the reports to Blizzard regarding Diablo 3 and now Diablo Immortal. I'm really happy to hear that you've had a good experience in Immortal, by the way. And and the third one, well, I think the third one slipped my mind. Oh well. Nemo, what bugs? Oh, the third one I guess is that you haven't run into many issues whatsoever, which is great.
Correct.
Yeah. So Nemo, how about you, man? Have you run into anything glitchy, issuey, thing like that?
I have to echo what SVR is saying. I used to actually, back in my old days, used to be a tester for some software companies. I now work as an architect for one of the biggest tech companies. And I do have to agree, I've never seen an alpha be so polished before in my life. I almost feel like this wasn't an alpha. Like, I almost feel like it's a beta. They just called an alpha because
it's a marketing
good Lord.
alpha.
Yeah. Like, oh, by the way, let's just. But you know what? Honestly, it is the smoothest, the nicest. I had one bug so far, and it was kind of a heartbreaker, to be honest with you. This was on stream. I have it recorded. I lost a legendary. I picked up a legendary staff for my wizard. It was my first legendary. It was the happiest moment of my life because it was amazing, right? And then I go out of zone. I go back into the next zone. I load back into West March, and it's gone. It's not there. It was just
yikers.
Yeah, so that's the worst bug, I would say. The only bug, but other than that, it's been smooth as butter, man. I got to give it to them. This is a very polished game.
Yeah, and I want to say, because I'm not some, tech mongrel like you guys, on the top of the tech world, but I have gotten a ton of beta and alpha games for review and stuff like that, being a content creator. And I mean, when you get an alpha game in the mobile gaming industry, you're expecting something that is rough, right? The controls are messed up. A lot of times you have to play it on BlueStacks if you don't have an Android phone because they're not even available on iOS yet. And a lot of times there's some serious issues with the game, and you need to overlook that and say, okay, it's in alpha, it's going to get better. This is just a testing phase. But I mean, there's literally none of that with Diablo Immortal. And, we've been waiting forever for Diablo Immortal. They've been building it for X amount of years, but it shows. Like, they're going to be releasing this when it comes out to the public, which, again, we don't know exactly yet. We'll get predictions on that later on the show, but it's going to be amazing. It's going to be literally a perfect game, as perfect as it can be. And remember, in the AMA, they mentioned that they have the ability to do more in this platform for Diablo Immortal than they can do in the Diablo 3 platform. It's just more open for them to add more stuff and build in more different types of things. And that was actually the third point I wanted to make from your discussion there, SVR.
I see. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. So Diablo 3, we actually don't really know when the actual development for Diablo 3 really started. We know it got rebooted at some point. There was a Diablo 2.5, 3.0 attempt. That one got rebooted, if my mind serves me correctly. Rika will know better than I do here on this one. I would, if I just have to assume and take a guess, let's say it started in 2008, and 2008 was a different time in terms of software development. Very different time. So 12 years do make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Them having a current tech stack, in the last 12 years, especially on the back end side, we nowadays have containerization techniques, which essentially means it's easier to scale up player bases, significantly easier. It's not an issue where you have separate bare metal machines running your servers like it is likely for D3. We don't really know. But in such a world, you very often have issues when you have peak players coming in, that your servers just crash. Because you have a definite amount of machines running and they don't auto-spin up, which is something that you have with containerization techniques. So on this end, in the last 12 years, a lot has changed in terms of back-end development. on how you can scale up games. So I'm pretty certain if Immortal comes out and everybody and their grandmas, downloads the game and plays on their phone, everybody will be seated. We didn't have this in Diablo 3. On the first night of Diablo 3, I remember everyone and their grandma sitting there and getting, what is it, like Arrow 73, Arrow 37,
Oh, no.
whatever. They made t-shirts out of that one, so those t-shirts can still buy them. So on this end, I believe it will be a smoother launch. And overall, in terms of development, I think with how D3 went, with what PoE has done in this time, and with how ARPGs developed into having like seasonal gameplay with like significant content iterations that introduce new systems to a game, even new items. This is something that the Immortal team has definitely looked out for right from the get-go, right from creating their tech stack. And it's something that they will be equipped for with the next couple of years, which means good time to be an ARPG fan. Thanks to other ARPGs. This is something that is not possible in D3. It's like the technical term is technical depth here. Like there's a depth that you build up over those years, being in a very definite tech stack, and switching it to something more agile is too expensive. Hence, you don't do it. And this is one of the fates that Diablo 3 has right now. It's gonna get shelved eventually. We all know it. I'm not looking forward to this day, but it will happen. And if Diablo Immortal will be there to close the gap to D4, and I'm certain D4 will have the same thing, where there will be less technical depth, more iteration, more agile way to introduce content patches that have significant impact on in-game systems.
Yeah, I mean, well, you have to think the game development has come a long way. What people expect out of games has come a long way in 10 years. It's just cool to see that the mobile platform is able to do what it's able to do. And I think that that Blizzard's doing a nice job demonstrating the abilities and their capabilities to build on mobile, trying to make it relevant, because we know that huge developers such as Blizzard are taking their games to mobile. It's a great way to get it in the hands of more people. We know mobile gaming is the most popular gaming platform right now across the world. It's arguably, if people think it's the best or not, I guess that's up to preference, but it's a fact that more people play mobile games than any other. So that brings me to a question from Zach, and he's asking, and I'm going to give this one to Yeet Nemo. Do you think this game will get super popular? Do you think that mobile has it in the platform to make an action RPG be a top game? Because it's a mobile platform. People aren't used to games this in depth on mobile.
I mean, I guess people aren't used to that, but it doesn't mean that, people weren't used to cable before and we just listened to radio and, look at now, right? I think that I think Blizzard really kind of stepped the game up for mobile. That's what we needed here. We needed a big company to come in, bring a AAA title in here, show us how to do it, and show us that mobile technology is there. We can. Like, look at Call of Duty Mobile. A lot of people thought, oh, you can't play Call of Duty on a mobile device. And I guess that probably is my best relevant case as far as like if I were to compare it. I know it's a different type of game, but it's super successful. I think they made $500 million in the first 2 quarters, right? And I think Immortal will follow. I think just because it's ARPG, it's just going to be a different type of crowd, so to speak. But I think it will be very, very popular because they're going with the free-to-play model. They're doing kind of the same stuff that the Call of Duty Mobile did, and it did really, really well. So I do think that it will do super, super well and be very popular.
Yeah, and what's that other one? Genshin Impact. It does. I mean, I know that it's cross-platform. It's on PC, console, mobile. I mean, how well did that game do on mobile alone? Do we know any numbers on that or no?
I heard it was one of the biggest. I heard it actually crushed all of mobile within the first couple of weeks. But that game is also available on the PC as well, right? So it's across all platforms.
Yeah.
Versus this is where they're focusing on a mobile platform, which is also a good move in my opinion.
SVR, you're shaking your head there, and it makes me feel like, how do you feel about it being only mobile?
So I don't mind per se too much. I know other community members mind quite a lot. They're like, why is there no PC integration out of this? It's a decision they made. I don't have strong feelings against it. I don't have strong feelings for it. I'm just neutral to that point. I'm not sure if it's technical reasons or if it's because they want to integrate PvP and they feel like it should be purely mobile PvP. I don't know. I quite honestly have no clue on this end. And I can't stress this enough. I couldn't care less. That's not a good reason, but that's just how it is. I'm like, I'm okay with just playing it, on my phone when I travel, when I'm like at my parents' place, like last week, and so on. That's about it.
One thing to say, I could probably even argue on the other side of this and say that I almost feel like Diablo was meant to be on a mobile. It plays. I mean, I'm not. I know. I'm gonna get missiles fired at me. I'm sorry, but I do notice that I've had a lot of fun playing on the mobile controllers because you're able to run one way, point the other. You're able to do a lot of stuff that you can't do with the mouse and keyboard. I know. What do you think about that?
Meant to play. I mean, that's a stretch right there. I'll not strongly go against your opinion. I will agree that it feels amazing. And I definitely I did go for leaderboard ranks on D3, right? So I was one of those crazy people, especially a couple of seasons back, where I went for rank ones at the end of the season and I got them, right? Just fairly competitive. Sure, it's a lot of dedication, sort of time investment to get where you need to be, knowing what you need to have, and then it's a lot of like understanding on which maps you won and on which maps you already lost, and then getting the map and then executing it, and then finally getting a rank one. It's an amazing feeling, and I didn't have, like, obviously with keyboard and mouse, I did not feel any frustration, as in I feel like I could better if I would have better inputs. Could this happen in Immortal? Well, it didn't right now because I expected it to happen. I was like, oh, I will surely have the feeling that I can't execute like I want to. And I'm like, I know what my brain wants to do, but my fingers can't execute it because of the controls. So I was expecting frustration, but it didn't happen yet. Would it happen if it's ridiculously competitive? Maybe I can't tell you. So on this end, I mean, there's always the statement of like, RPGs are not really inherently competitive, and I agree. They're probably best played when you just hang out, play whenever you have time, and it's like those, you have your 5 to 9 job, you come home, you take care of the kids, right, and then you have like your 90 minutes, which is your sanctuary, where you just depressurize. And for that one, ARPGs are amazing. And if it's on a phone, it's on a phone. If it's on a PC, it's on a PC. Are they made for a phone? I would say no. That's a far too frustrating.
I mean,
Echo, what do you think?
It has to do with your preference, right? So let's back up to my gaming history. I was a huge Xbox gamer. I got back into gaming with Gears of War, Halo, Call of Duty. No action RPGs in my life at that point in time, right? So for me, that was my comfort zone. I played for years, hours a day on the controller. It was a part of me. All right, so time goes on. I realize that PC is pretty amazing. I get into Steam, and I get this massive Steam library of games, and I start playing Call of Duty on the PC. I start learning the controls, and at first, it's completely awkward. Going from a controller to mouse and keyboard is awful. It's bad, but then you start to realize that you have a huge advantage with these shooters when you're on a mouse and keyboard. And, it took that transition time to learn the new way. Now, if I try and play a shooter on a controller, it's like, oh my God, this is awful. I'm like pointing all over the place. And then I made the transition when I had kids and didn't have time to sit in front of the computer and play forever to mobile. And now I love mobile controls. I remember having discussions with Nemo about how he just doesn't really love the mobile controls of all these games that I'm saying, here, Nemo, try this game. He doesn't love the mobile controls. He's like, does it have controller support? The questions that everyone's asking now. But with Immortal, Nemo seems to really like the controls. I mean, you heard his debatable argument a moment ago. Like, he really likes the controls. And for me, I'm extremely comfortable with mobile controls because that's what I play. So if you're a PC person like yourself, SVR, and you come to mobile, there may be a bit of a learning curve, yeah, but I think that Blizzard did a nice job building a control system that's, one, familiar to mobile gamers already, because it's not breaking the mold in any crazy way, but they do it really nice. It's controlled really well. It's not glitchy. I love that you can't customize the controls. I feel like that just becomes too much. Let's use PUBG Mobile, for example. In the customization screen of PUBG Mobile, there are 50 different buttons that you could move around, and it just gets, to me, it gets overwhelming. I don't like it. Then you get people playing in different ways. So you'll have people playing with claw, with both hands all over the screen, and that changes the experience as far as inputs go for players as well. I personally love the controls as they are. I wouldn't change them if I did. And actually, when I look at my PUBG Mobile controls, they're very similar to what I'm looking at here for the Diablo Immortal setup as well, right? Like you have your primary attack, you have your other things surrounding that button. For me, I like it. But you made a sound, which makes me believe that you think customization of controls would be valuable.
No. I was just shocked that PUBG has like you essentially like you make those steps from just playing a game to somehow like flying a plane. That's how it felt. Like you have 50 buttons that you can set up
Yeah.
on PUBG. I wasn't aware. I would definitely not want to have such an extreme thing in Immortal. Overall, like I've said this a couple of times, also like in the internal Discord, where I was like, I feel like if there's one thing, anything I would change about the controls would always make it worse. That's how I feel right now. Because that's it's in a state where Nemo pointed out that it's so well executed. It feels like RPGs were meant to be this way or meant to be played this way. I humbly disagree with that one, but I value his opinion so much that I would say, all right, so if there's one person who feels this way, then maybe others will follow. Which that's a nice thing that you can now have the capability to play on mobile. Probably shows on how good of a job they did overall to bring this ARPG experience to a mobile device.
Mhm.
Would not want to have any more like customization features on the controls because this is as good as it gets, and I feel like if I would have the chance to change something, I would fuck it up. Like that's
Yeah.
just how
I hear you. And
Yeah.
actually, we have Facebook making a good point in the chat, which is opposite of my opinion. He says, I wish there was customization. Sure, it grants accessibility for some. And that's completely true as well. I mean, we're talking about a very small minority of people, maybe people that have some type of a disability or people that maybe even left-handed versus right-handed. I don't know if that would make a difference at all or not. But, some people may... So some basic customization of controls may be cool. I mean, for me personally, it's perfect. But I guess it's true what Facebook just said, and that maybe just because it's perfect for me, a typical mobile gamer, doesn't mean it's perfect for everyone. So that's actually a great point. That does make me think of people that play one-handed or people that have some other type of a disability that can hinder their ability to play.
Oh, that's a fair point. That's
Yeah.
a very, very good point. Maybe something like I'm not sure, like people that only can play with one hand, maybe have like voice activation for the skills, like skill 1, skill 2, and so on. So that might be something. There are different ways to, I guess, do it, but yeah, something like customization would definitely help with accessibility, without a question. And
Yeah.
I'm usually always in favor for that one. Yes.
We got Lime coming through here with a question, a good question. Do you get the same kind of gear a lot? Is there a lot of different types of gear? Don't know the word for it. How do you feel about gear stats? Like, should it be more diverse? So I guess he's asking about when we're running around, we're playing, we're picking up different gear all the time. Is it repetitive? And how diverse are the different items that we get? Which one do you guys want to take? Nemo, what do you want to say about it?
Well, so actually, this is a pretty heated one as well. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this.
Yes.
I know SVR got probably about 10 tons of stuff to say about it. I'll say that I feel like, and this is okay. Remember, this is alpha. Not all the gear is out. There's still a lot more gear. Like we just saw a small, tiny amount of stuff that's available. But I feel like the gear is kind of unimportant. I feel like you're just grinding and trying to get to trying to find legendaries. The rest of the gear, it has like some abilities. I feel like there are some good things that are possibly something that maybe you could like stack, like some of the magic, like +3 is doesn't really do anything for me. Like maybe if I could stack it across all of the gear or somehow multiply it or modify it to make it worth something, I feel like maybe it's a few tweaks and that could be switched. But right now, I feel like all I'm doing is just waiting for legendaries and the rest I'm scrapping for material.
I absolutely agree with this one. Like, I feel like non-legendary items have a significant identity crisis right now.
Yeah.
Because all they are at this point is it the green arrow up and does it have the sockets that I need? And if so, equip. And you don't really care for the rest at this point anymore. It's like, yes, you can rank your gear, you can rank them up, but in reality, that's how I feel. I'm not really ranking the item, I'm ranking the slot the item is on. Because there is no opportunity cost for me later on to just move to transfer the rank to a different item. So it's just a placeholder until I find a better version with more attributes where I see green arrow, and that's it. But whatever is filled in this slot until I have a legendary that I want doesn't matter. It's like I level through the campaign, I see green arrow, I equip, transfer rank, change gems, and then I'm done. And then I continue to upgrade the slot, not really the item. So I feel like it's like a very, very, very significant identity crisis from level 1 to max level with all the rares that you equip. And then afterwards, you're trying to target like specific legendaries that have specific mods to your skills. This is something that you'll be looking for, and those feel amazing. Like there are like some really good, strong fantasy modifications for your skills that completely change how they interact and how they work. Thumbs up for that one. Not just multipliers, but actual gameplay changing, build changing legendaries. Good stuff. Keep them coming. Right now we have like 80 of them or something. We're expected to get more. So you know, keep it in this direction in terms of legendaries. But rares, there's still a lot of things to do. Nemo pointed it out. I feel there's a significant identity crisis. It's just stat sticks that I rotate through and I see a green arrow. And that's it. I will never find a rare that I'm like, oh shoot, look at this, guys. It's not happening. And to me, is that a sad part? I would say yes. I think there's more to do here. There's more options here. There's so much space left for rares to be amazing. Competitive to legendaries? Maybe not, but space to actually be really like, oh, so do I switch this legendary out for this rare? Because right now the answer is I always equip legendary, kind of. That's kind of it. So this is my take on items. It's a huge topic. It's a very large topic, but it's alpha. It's alpha, and it's forgivable at this point right now. We'll see if things change in the future. But legendaries are definitely in the right direction.
So compare that to D3. All right. Do you have the same experience when you're playing D3? Do you get rares and get excited for them, or is it still you're looking for legendaries?
Absolutely not. You never care for rares in D3 ever,
right,
whatsoever.
So it's a similar experience.
In line. Yeah, it's in line. For D3 and Immortal, the itemization is like conceptually fairly close, which I don't like. I think other ARPGs do a way better job of itemization. D2, I feel, does a better job because you can have rares that are so powerful. You can even have magic items that are so ridiculously powerful that you want to keep them for quite some time. And you have, I mean, the strongest items in PoE usually are like insanely expensively crafted rares. So other ARPGs executed very well on this one. Is something that Immortal even doesn't want to do? We'll see. We'll see. But this is one of these. So you're pointing out, yes, it's very in line with the fray, and I don't like it. Right? So I'm already like against it in the fray that rares have absolutely no value whatsoever.
Okay.
Except for like the first week.
Fair enough. And I get that as well. I feel the same way. But let's talk about legendary gem drops. I mean, I'm going to talk about my characters. I got 2 of them to max, and I didn't grind them much after max. My Demon Hunter and my Monk. And each of them has, I believe, 4 slotted legendaries. A lot of them you can get from your battle pass. I believe I got 1 or 2 from my battle pass, and I don't remember where I got the rest of them from. But do you guys think that legendary gem drops are too often, not often enough, just right? What's your thought on that?
Who wants to take this first?
That's also a heated one. Again, we're really jumping the gun on hot topics right now.
That is. That's fair. You go first with this one.
All right. So legendary gems are incredibly powerful. So one thing that I have to commend the team on is in D3, when I select legendary gems, like maybe it's because I have such high expertise in this game, I've played it for so long, that decisions in terms of legendary gems are very easy for me. Like I'm playing build X, so those are the 2 default includes, and one is like a utility include, or I play build Y, and it's like, all right, I always play those 3. So it's like a very straightforward, what's best, I know what to equip, keep on going. There's like no real decision making here. In Immortal, I sit there, I'm like, I want to do, and this I also want it. Like, I'm not sure which one to pick. It's like they're like 23, I think, right now, right? And we have 6 slots, and I'm like, I want to have like 10 of them. That's how I feel sometimes. So I'm going like back and forth. I also like, so for the PvP arena, I'll equip this one, and for CRs, I'll equip this one, and for just general purpose farming, I'll equip this one. So I feel like I have like 4 core ones, and then like 4 different ones that I rotate for the 2 remaining slots. So in terms of like versatility, choices that I can make, Legendary gems are very, very well balanced and in a good spot at this point, like in relation to each other. Now, the power that they unlock for your gear, they give you attributes, right? You have like the first ethic is always like percentage increase of attributes for your current item. So this is on weapon, shoulders, and headpieces and offense. It's just raw damage. So you literally increase damage of your character. And on chest piece and the remaining piece, the pants, it's life. So you just get more tanky on that end. And they give you the attribute increase, right? So plus the legendary effect. The higher you level them, the more attributes you get back, which also improves the power of your character. And here's the issue: legendary gems, right now, they are gated behind legendary crests. It's a pay item. It's something that either you get via progressing very high in challenge rifts. So you need to be on the weekly challenge rift event thingy. You need to place very high, and then you get like 7 or 10 of them for being rank 1 on your class, for instance. Then you get some of those awarded. You can buy them with platinum, which is a real money thing, I think, that you need to buy. I'm not sure about Eternal Orbs, if you can do Eternal Orbs into
Yeah, you can.
You can as well.
300.
I see. And that's about it. Legendary gems are gated behind legendary crests, and those are gated behind money right now.
I will say, regarding the platinum, I noticed that this week the login rewards, because you get login rewards every day, is platinum every single day. I don't know what the amount of platinum that we're getting, if it's relevant, if it's going to be something that's really valuable, or if it's just, a few pennies in the bank. But we are getting platinum for free every day for 7 days just for the login rewards.
Is that the alpha only thing though, because they ran out of items?
I don't know. Well, I don't know that. Possible.
Yeah, so it's the first kill of the day with the platinum right now. Is it just a placeholder? Or is that something that will also be in the second week of when it actually releases? That's probably a question we can't answer here. The way it looks like to me and the values that I see there, I would just say, like, handle this information with caution and discretion at this point. This is likely just an alpha placeholder thing right now. The same way we get like 1,000 Eternal Orbs per day for free. This is likely something not that will, we don't have confirmation on this one, but I would say probably not something for release.
Good point. And that's really with everything we're talking about. Like, we're in the alpha, guys. Literally the entire game can change. Everything can change about the game because it's alpha. Is it going to? Most likely not. It's most likely going to be very similar to what we're seeing, but they can do whatever they want. It's not out yet, so worth noting. But Nemo, do you want to add anything more as far as the legendary gem drops?
Well, I have to echo a lot of the stuff SVR said. I agree with that, right? I think the legendary gem game is awesome. I do feel like a lot of those gems really give you like class building abilities, and I feel like a gem is now almost like an item versus in D3 it kind of being something you stick into an item. There's a certain number of gems, and I feel like you're going to be changing them around based on what you're doing. Like if you're going to go in and you're just going to run rifts and you want to clear mobs, you might run certain gems. Or if you're going to go and do, like he said, challenge rifts to pick up a couple of extra legendary crests for you that week, you might be running different gems. And I love how there's like depth in that. It's a bit more, in my opinion. I feel like they're worth more. But at the same time, I do feel like they are behind a paywall, which... because if you really think about it, you're going to get a certain amount of gear. You're going to upgrade it to the highest level, and then it's going to become the gem game, right? You're going to talk about what kind of gems you're going to put in, and then you, of course, need more gems to upgrade gems to get them to a higher level and all that good stuff. So I do agree with a lot of stuff SVR says. I love the way it works right now. So far, I have 4 gems that I love, just like SVR does, and I have 2 gems that I'm switching around with. I don't know. I looked through all the gems. I hear there's a lot more coming. And what I love about them is you have your, like, I call them the S tier gems, the highest gems that you feel like are going to be like things that you need, right? Trick shot or power and command gem. That's a really good one. There's a couple of really good ones. And then there's some gems that are very specific, that are good, but only for one thing. And I feel like they would be real class based. Every gem has certain things that you're going to be using in one way or another. There is no worthless gems, but there is a lot of like difference and complexity in them. So I love that. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like in your opinion, since you said there is no like worst gem or bad gem, like what do you feel is like the most niche or worst gem right now? Hint: there is a correct answer here.
What was there was a gem that everyone has to wear this gem. I forgot what the name of it was, but I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. There's everyone in the class. Everyone in the party has to wear them for you to take a reduced damage.
Oh, that's the Unity one.
Unity, yes,
Yeah,
thank you. I feel like that one is.
Okay, that's from a Unity ring from D3 as well. So when two party members have it equipped, then you share 50% of your damage with the other person.
Yep.
And it has like the kind of same theme where it's like damage sharing. I really dislike the mocking laughter, also because of the name. Like it's the one where you hit something and you taunt the target for 3 seconds, so it attempts to attack you, and it's kind of it. Like I feel like that essentially does kind of nothing, at least to me. Maybe like later on for like some dedicated like support characters when you want to like keep a boss aggro on yourself, sure,
like a tank or something.
Yeah, exactly. But elsewise, like the name is what it says. It's just mocking laughter. That's it. I was actually playing with the community manager with Pez Radar or Adam, right? And we were playing Eldar together, and he put in 3 legendary crests, and he got 3 mocking laughters from the boss group. And I really didn't want to believe him. He was like, I got 3 mocking laughters. I'm out of here for today. And he was like, he was not in a good place at this point. But I feel I got like 2 of them yesterday from like my 5 legendary crests that I busted yesterday. I got 2 mocking laughters, and I'm sitting there with like, yeah, dude.
You know, that's funny because it's one of my highest rated gems because I've gotten like 6 of them, I think.
I mean, do you feel they have like specific rarities? I think they do. Like we don't have confirmation on this one, but for instance, the Fervid Fang, the one where you continuously do more damage to a target when you hit it, it's kind of like Bane of the Stricken from Diablo 3. It's like quintessential for boss killing when solo pushing. It's like a quintessential gem. Otherwise, you need like 8 minutes for the boss, and if you play Stricken, you can kill him in like 2 to 3 minutes because you continuously start to ramp up and do more damage to one target and only one target. So I feel like that one, it's strong. It's essentially an immortal. It's capped, but I haven't seen it yet. And talking with people, I feel like it has a significant rarity to it. And I believe that not every gem has actually the same chance to drop. We don't have confirmation on this one, but that's how I feel. How do you guys feel about that one? Because mocking laughter, I have it a couple of times already, and I have not seen a Ferret Fang yet, and some other ones that I feel significantly rarer. So I would say like Power and Command is very rare. I've seen it only once dropped in a group scenario, and that's it. I have
Echo got it.
Ferret Fang. See, Echo got it. There you go.
So I literally just got it on the gameplay that we're watching. Mocking laughter just popped up, and it couldn't have come at a more perfect time.
There you go. So do you guys feel the same way? Legendary gems are weighted? I would say at this point, 1000% yes. Like it would be nice to get some confirmation at some point, but this is probably a secret they will keep having and not tell us, likely.
I agree. I have to agree with you. The Power and Command gem hasn't dropped for me. It's also the last gem on the Battle Pass, if you notice, level 40.
Yeah, it is.
So you get 2 gems. You get the Sali's Weakening, right? I believe at 15, and then you get that one at 40. So I feel like that is, and yeah, I have not seen it drop, not once. Echo did pick up the Power and Command gem like a couple of days ago on stream. I saw it. So he's sporting it, but I totally agree. What do you think, Echo?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't played as deep into my max characters. Not saying that you have better chances of grabbing them at that point, but and I wish I had my builds up in front of me. I guess I could, but there are definitely some gems that I've been able to upgrade multiple times, while there's others that are still sitting at level 1, which to me would mean that I've received more of those than of others. I mean,
with that sample size, it's hard to say. Like, this could just be RNG with such a small sample size. Unless you're willing to go through 5,000 legendary crests. Like, we could actually crowdsource this information. If every streamer would just write down for each crest what you got as a return, then we could probably crowdsource this information and then extrapolate, like, drop weights. This would be some amazing thing we could do for the next alpha if it's going to happen. Like everybody just signs up to just write down everything on this end.
Yeah.
Then we could probably like crowdsource this information, and yeah, that would be good to know if that's actually the case. The way it feels like right now, and it's just like an educated guess based on like some very small empirical observations, I would say yes to drop weights. We'll see. But Mocking Laughter is is definitely a good name for something that happens quite often. Like, good job on the devs. They have probably ripped a joke about this one like this.
They probably have.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I don't even know how many of those I have. I don't believe it's one that I have equipped, and based on how you're describing it, I probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, nobody does.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I'm in the right spot then. So we got a question. Actually, it was someone coming into the chat and kind of bashing on this as a mobile game a little bit. And he's talking about the phone battery going red. You have to plug it in, and then you have that little the wire just being an irritation to your hand and the phone. He talks about you're missing 15% of your attacks because you're just spamming your thumb on a screen where you can't feel the buttons. And then he says, and a phone call comes in and you die. And then he says pay to win pops up and he says GG. So obviously we have someone here that's not the biggest fan of it on mobile. Now, some of the things that he's addressing here are things that us mobile gamers are used to, right? So the thumb irritation. Well, first of all, you don't have to play on your phone, right? Plus there's other things you can do. So for me, for example, I play on my iPad and I have this little stand, right? I place it on the stand. The thing sticks in here. I don't have any hand irritation, but assuming you don't have an iPad, they do also make little stands and stuff like that for your phone. They're cheap. They're on Amazon. You could pick one up and you won't have that irritation. I do agree. If I'm playing in a game that I do like playing, there you go, Nemo's got it. I do like playing Call of Duty Mobile on my phone because I feel like I'm holding a controller and I feel like I need those really fast reactions, and it does irritate the inside of your thumb right here after some time. I mean, there's nothing we can do about this. This is the device we're playing on. When I play on the mouse and keyboard, my wrists are all cocked for so long that they hurt at the end of the time. I mean, it's just because I'm not used to playing on that. It's just getting comfortable with a different platform. You know, there's not many things we could do to change the platform experience. Rather than, I mean, for me, I'm most likely going to go buy a brand new iPad. This one's 3 years old, but I'm going to go most likely buy a new one, the biggest one I can get, because I'm going to be spending a ton of time playing this game, making videos and streams for it. So for me, I'm going to upgrade my gear the way that many people will be doing to their PCs when Diablo 4 comes up. They're going to probably upgrading their PCs so they can have the best gaming experience for that. It's really the same kind of thing. It's just a different platform. And a lot of people are stuck thinking, I have this phone. I want to have the best gaming experience on the phone that I have. I mean, some people's phones from the comments section of my YouTube channel, I mean, we're talking about iPhones from like 6 years ago people are still using. I didn't even know those things still ran. So you're going to have, I mean, my iPad's 3 years old and it still runs it beautifully. It's what all the footage we're watching is from. So I would say, I mean, I guess it depends on where you are. It's a bold statement for me to say that everyone has a phone that's at least 3 years old or newer. But that's really not true. That's probably not true. But, you know, new game comes out on the newest Xbox or PlayStation. You can only play it if you have the newest platform, right? You can't play it on the older ones. And you may have to upgrade your PC. I don't know. I'm going off on tangent here. What it comes down to is either you're going to enjoy a mobile gaming experience or you're not. With that being said, I could play for 3 hours on my iPad without having to charge it. So I would assume, and that's a 3-year-old iPad. I would assume if I were on my phone, I'd get at least 2 hours of gameplay. And if you're going to be playing for more than that, sure, you'll have to plug it in and charge. But I would say most of the time, you could play without being plugged in. And if you don't want to get phone calls interrupting your experience, either play on another device or put on the sleep mode or, you know, the nighttime mode, and then no notifications will come through. Now, obviously, you'll be missing a phone call at that point, but you know, those are the options. There's ways around every issue that was mentioned above. It's just if you wanna make those moves to go around them. And you guys have anything to add? I mean, and we're talking to SVR. He's a PC guy, and he's saying that he's enjoying the mobile experience. So that was a huge reason why I wanted him to come on the show, to get a legit, true PC gamer's thoughts on this right here.
So one thing that I noticed, like specifically when it comes to like clicking on the screen, was you know how when you're like in a higher chance fight and you're fighting a boss, especially when you're like on Demon Hunter or Wizard, because you have ranged attacks, like your auto attack is kind of ranged, right? So what I was doing, I was like spamming my electric button like crazy with my thumb, like spamming it. And I was also running like away from the boss, right? So my character would run, shoot, run, shoot, run, shoot, right? And this is like a mechanic that in D3 that we call stutter stepping, right? Or generally speaking in ARPGs, we call it like stutter stepping. So you attack make a step because you can't attack yet, and then essentially your attack is on cooldown, and then you make a step, so you move because you have time to do so, and then you immediately weave in the next attack, right? So you're like moving like a small step and shoot, and so on, right? And it turns out like I was spamming electrocute button like crazy, and somebody in my chat, so it was a person who was also playing technical alpha. He was one of the lucky ones from the Australian realm to actually be like get like the random invitation via the Google Play Store. And he said, you can just hold down electrocute and it will do so for you automatically. I'm like, wait, what? So you can literally just move, like hold the button into one direction and then just hold an electrocute, and it will perfectly stutter step for you. Like it will perfectly weave in those electrocutes, and when it can't, because it's on cooldown, it will just move a step. And this is like a mechanical perk where, yes, there is some significant skill involved in properly executing stutter stepping, especially in PC games, especially in D3. Like the highest mechanical players, like a Woody Drew, for instance, on Demon Hunter, has some insane mechanical execution on how he stutter steps, and it's impressive to watch in D3. But it's something that is definitely not needed in Immortal. And the game does it for you automatically when you queue in the correct commands. And that felt amazing. Like me realizing this one, that I don't need to 80,000 times in a Rift spam electrocute manually once per click, but I can just hold it down when I want to perfectly stutter step, was an amazing revelation to me. And just showed that those guys, the developers, were sitting down and they understood how important kiting and stutter stepping is. They were well aware of it, and they made sure that the controls will allow you to do so without like gating it behind how well you can access your phone and how well you can use your phone and how responsive your touchscreen is. So in that one, that was like one of those like small perks where chat told me, and I was like, wow, that's actually amazing. And I made like a huge and a big deal out of this when streaming, right? And it was like 400 people, and 200 of them were like, can you just stop talking about this one because it's not a big deal? I'm like, it's a big fucking deal, hello? Like, to me it is, okay? This was like perfect stutter stepping on high end. This is like quintessential for Demon Hunters and Wizards, and we can do so in Immortal, and that's amazing. So please let me have this and let me be passionate about this one, because they thought about it, and it's like well deserved to point it out.
Blizzard has your thumb in mind, man. They were thinking about thumbs.
They were thinking about this one here.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, guys. So we're getting towards the end of the stream. We've taken every question that's come through so far. So I want to end this. And by the way, let me give a reminder. If you're coming to the stream late, this entire stream is going to be broadcast. It's going to be put up as a video on my channel, ECHO Gaming Diablo. Feel free to check it out there. If you want to comment in there, you can do that, and we'll be there to answer those questions. Or you can come through any of our Discord servers. I'll be linking Nemo and SVR's details in the description of the video, or you can just click on them right here in chat and see their Twitch channels right now. But I want to end asking both of you, and I want to ask myself this as well. First of all, I want to know what's your favorite thing about Diablo Immortal, your one favorite thing, and then one thing that you haven't seen that you would like to see in Diablo Immortal. So I'm going to start with Nemo on this one, not giving you any time to think about it, but your favorite thing first, and then one thing that you would like to see. See, I thought of this early, so I have notes so I don't forget. You guys, you're on the hot seat. Cheating.
Putting me right on the hot spot, huh?
Yeah,
I love it.
I am.
So my favorite thing about Diablo Immortal is the fact, honestly, that it's more Diablo. Okay, I love the fact that the Immortal kind of puts us into a timeline of Diablo that we haven't seen yet. It's a prequel, so to speak, and it's like one of my favorite things. It's one of the reasons I love Pulp Fiction is one of my favorite movies, because they jump back and forth, and I really love the fact that we jumped into a story and it's on a different platform and brought more Diablo. And then, of course, obviously, with all of the things that the SVR was talking about, I love all the additions and etc. But my favorite thing about it is the fact that it's more Diablo in a different time zone, getting us ready for 4. I love it. As far as one thing I would like to see in there is probably PvP. That's one of my most excited things about Diablo, because I'm not really sure how it's going to work. I don't really know how in general PvP works in Diablo. I actually don't think it works. So it'd be interesting to see in a mobile, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most.
I want to jump in there really quick, because yesterday on stream, I got one of those drop events where you battle the PvP events. Dude, I went into it. It was just me. I didn't have a team. No one was there. There was no one for me to fight. The chest was there with some guardian. I beat the guardian. I got the chest. That was the PvP thing, but I had no opponent, right?
What? Really?
Yeah.
I got melted within a second. It was
it
like,
normal? Was it on normal difficulty?
Yes, mine was on normal.
Okay.
What happened here, SVR, is people saw who they would be teamed up with, and all of you D3 guys, you feared it because you knew my experience on mobile. You got scared. You just backed out. Said, "Here, Echo, take the free chest. There you go." You know.
So just to be clear, so this one event, so this is actually what I want. So to make like the segue to your question,
Awesome.
on what I want to see changed, it was actually the PvP event that I was thinking of right now. So just to back up here, the PvP event, it's a random event that happens every 3 hours in a specific zone. You run to it, and there's a chest, and then the arena closes. It's an arena, and then essentially the team. So the group, the party that opens the chest, even if people are still alive, like you can sneak it in. Like if you can range the people and you have one person opening the chest, right? Which is like a common strategy right now. Then every person in that group gets a legendary on Hell 1 and Hell 2. I'm not sure about normal. I don't think you get a legendary on normal. So normal is usually not contested and people go into Hell 1 and Hell 2. I absolutely love the idea of having an event like this to like give a deterministic legendary, and it's like kind of hard to do because you need to PvP people. So you need to find maybe the right group, maybe the right setup, need to think about how you play a bit, go in there and have like some hard PvP content. I think that's really good. But the way it works right now, instead of actually playing PvP right now, we are playing politics. Because what happens is people will meet up like 6, 7, 8 minutes before the event. They will like determine groups. I'm like, so I'm with Leviathan. I'll go tank with shield. Leviathan will be heavy range DPS. We have a barb to chase, right? And then we sit in front of the arena. People come in and they see there's a 4-man team here, and they immediately back out and they try their luck in a different difficulty. This is how it is right now. It's not really, people don't queue up. They play PvP. They come to the area, see, oh, those guys are here. Let me get the F out because I'm not playing against these guys. So right now it's really politics. It's like, so in 10 minutes, do I have a PvP group to strong arm people into leaving? And that's the issue right now. And I think that's like, they had the right idea with this funny PvP arena event, but I feel like we need some changes right now because right now it's more Game of Thrones and politics than actual PvP. I think it needs to be something where you queue up for the arena and you don't see who's already in there. So it needs to be like a blind system where you just spawn in an arena and then you see, oh, there's a team, this is a team, this is a team, and then you fight them. Because right now it is strong arming, it's politics, it's setting up the right team, be there early and wait. And then hopefully like flex enough to make sure those people go away. And I don't like that. I was envisioning at some point we're actually gonna PvP. Like I was like, at this point of the alpha, we should PvP. We should like, I want to have my boot in somebody's face in PvP, but I don't get to because they leave and they try to strong arm a different difficulty. And I don't like this. So this is why I will say, amazing idea, but right now with the current execution, it's more politics than gameplay. Hence, please, please, please reiterate on this because it's such a good idea every 3 hours. It's so much fun to tech this out, but we don't get to play the mechanic right now. So that's the thing that I want to change. The thing that I absolutely love and adore, and the thing that I'm super jealous of, is the graphics. The Diablo on my phone looks better than Diablo on my PC because I play Diablo PC, it's just Diablo 3, and on my phone, it's literally looking better. It's running smoother, and there's better graphics. It has better everything. It's a hate-love thingy because I love Diablo on PC so much, and I love D3 so much. I spend so much time in there and did spend so much time in there. So seeing it like being beaten out by a mobile game is like, it's like, I don't know. It's the pride that is taking a hit here, probably more than actually. It's not a bad thing, I guess. But that's one thing where I love it. I'm loving it and I'm hating it that it's so good in the phone. It looks just so smooth and crisp and buttery and. Man, I want this to be patched into D3 so D3 looks so so slick and polished and feels so buttery.
Well,
So
I'm happy to hear that you feel that way about the graphics. It's really nice as a
yeah,
mobile gaming guy to hear that a PC. Now we're comparing a 10-year-old game versus a new one on mobile. Like you're
we
gonna
do,
get that smooth butteriness with D4, and you're gonna be happy
we do,
when you when you
we
when
do.
you get there. But I want to just say one thing about the PvP. Like I think they need to nail PvP. That's what, especially on mobile. I mean, think about console games, shooters, Halo, Call of Duty. A PvP is what makes the longevity of those games. Being able to play against each other. Campaign-based games die out quickly. And they've already said they're not going to do seasons here in Diablo Immortal. So I think PvP needs to be nailed. And I think that's going to be valuable hearing your experience with it to the Diablo team when they're building it. But to my favorite things, mine are pretty simple. One is the Battle Pass. I asked the question, if I have 4 characters on my account and I buy the battle pass, do I need to buy a battle pass for each account? And no, you don't have to. We're talking about a monthly battle pass. It's going to probably be, this is a guess, $5 a month. That's kind of standard across the mobile industry. And you're going to be able to get all of those rewards from the pass on every single character that you create. What that shows me is that they're not money hungry over this battle pass, because they could very well charge you for a battle pass for each character that you want to use for the season. But they're not doing that. They're doing it in a way that I think is fair. Pay $5 and you're going to get tons of value. The more characters you have, the more value you get out of that. Now, obviously, you can only grind so much depending how many characters you have versus the time. But I love that. I think it just shows that Blizzard is here. Obviously, they need to make money. If they don't make money, they can't support the game. There's people working on this. So they need to make money from it. But I think that they are really, and from talking with them, they've said it multiple times, they really want the game experience to shine. And they don't want people to feel that they're spending money for no reason. And if they do spend money, they want to show that they're getting value for spending that money. So I don't know. I like that. And the second thing, what I would like to see, and I don't think this is available. I haven't seen it. If it is, let me know. I want to see build slots. So I could have my hero with this build, that build, and this build pre-made, where I don't have to go in and switch things in and out, kind of like a weapon slot that you have in Call of Duty Mobile. So it's just all there. If you want to go and just go farm some demons, you could choose this one. If you want to do some PvP, you choose this one, you know, and I think that would just make it easier and less having to shuffle around your builds, especially because to take a gem out of a slot is kind of a process. You have to go through the process of taking it out, moving this along, even upgrading them seems to be a little bit of a process. So having gear slots, I think, would be cool. It would be make it user friendly. That's
100% agree. Yeah, you definitely want to do that, like a wardrobe. So to
yeah,
speak.
a wardrobe. Yeah, like a
I have
changing
that in
room.
D3.
Yeah,
You
so
have that in D3. That's
Yep.
called an armory. You can quick
Yep.
swap between builds that you predefined.
Mhm.
And it's been a game changer. Like we did not have this, like, I'm not sure. It's actually, it feels fairly recent, which means in the last like 2 or 3 years it was added. But from like 2012 to 2017 or something, we are playing with armory and we had to swap everything in, and a lot of mistakes happened. People forgot items and legendary gems and skills to swap, and builds didn't work. So it was always like, all right, first run of the day, let's see what's incorrect, right?
yeah.
Let's not go so high. Let's see, where the mistakes are being placed this time. So the armory was a game changer to this one, and I absolutely agree with you, because every single time before a PvP arena event, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going into Westmarch. I need to swap my gems, I need to swap my offhand, I need to swap to my like wizard support build where I give a shield to everyone, and I'll be back in 10 minutes. We see each other in the arena event, and afterwards I need the same thing. Like I need to run between stash and the jeweler multiple times to swap things out for a soft PvP setup. And a wardrobe where just 2 clicks would help me already in alpha significantly. So
Well,
I absolutely agree with your wish here.
it's nice hearing that it's in D3, because that means they know the value, right? They see that it's value, and I mean, maybe that means there's a good chance it would be coming, because it definitely is something that's going to save players a lot of time, endless, like, mindless running around for no reason, which could be solved with the click of a button. So
I'm actually pretty certain that Wyatt Chang, who is the lead designer on Diablo Immortal, was patch lead in D3 when the armory came in. I'm not 1000% on this one, but I would say like 80% certainty that at this point he was still patch lead when the armory hit. So
time to voice that to him over on Discord, maybe.
yes. fake news by SVR on a podcast if it's not
Yeah.
true. And I'm
Fake news.
I'm honestly sorry.
All good, all good. But listen, I think we had a great podcast, and SVR, Nemo and I are here every week, but I really appreciate you coming down. You brought value that we wanted to bring to the show this week. So thanks so much for coming through. And again, guys, I'm going to be linking SVR and Nemo's details, their socials, their Twitch streams, all that stuff in the description of this as a video. So SVR, again, thank you so much. Nemo, it's always a pleasure, man.
Thanks so much for having me, Echo. Always a great. I mean, are we done already? It always feels like it's 10 minutes, and we've been going for. I guess when you're having fun, time flies, huh? I had a blast with SVR. I definitely think we need to have him eventually back and talk about some other stuff, because it seems like he's a mad scientist over there, and I definitely value his opinion. So thanks so much for having us here, Echo. Had a blast. Appreciate you having me here. Appreciate the whole fam, and let me throw it over to SVR.
Thanks, boys. I had a good time. See you next time.
Yep, and everyone that was here, thank you guys so much for your questions. That's what makes this show. This is a live show, legitimately taking your questions from the chat. If you missed it this week, it's all good. Come back next Sunday, because as long as we have the alpha, this show is going to be weekly. Why not, when the game is in our hands? So yeah, come back, ask your questions live, and if you missed it and you're watching it as a video, make sure you just sound off down below. Subscribe to all the channels, do all that great stuff, and thank you guys so much. See you, episode 4 is done. Episode 5 next week. See you there. Be good.